Okay, so once more, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, where you are joining this presentation from. So right now, I'm basically on Zoom as well as on Student Solution fan page. So some of you can definitely see me live on Facebook fan page, whereas on Zoom you will be going through the presentation I'm going through. So if you have any questions during this time, you're more than welcome to leave your leave your message on Facebook, or if you want to comment or leave a message on Zoom, you are more than welcome to do that. We will be trying to answer them as much as we can, but at the same time, we will be answering at the end of the presentation as we go along. So, study in the UK. This presentation is all about study in the UK, and if you have any questions regarding to study in Canada, we have a session on Monday, so you can join that and register for that event as well. Specifically, this is all about study in the UK. So the first thing you would like to know what a Student Solution is, and Student Solution Canada, and what they are specifically specialized in UK and Canada. The reason being because we are professionals who have studied or worked in UK in different times of the years, and different time of last 10, 15 years we have been either working in the UK, or we have either studied or graduate from UK at a bachelor's level or master's degree. So we have an understanding of how the process for application works in the UK, and quite a bit of in-depth information in terms of how to make an application for scholarships, as well as any real-time experiences with as an international students you may have faced. We definitely can share the experiences from our students who have graduated and studied in the UK. We have about we've been in this industry for more than 17 years, so you can see that we have been a very specialized experience in this study in the UK product, and that is why we believe that we do not work with different countries, but specifically UK, just because we want to make sure that you get a real-time answers to your questions, as well as the experiences, as much as we can answer to you. It's not just about the admission process or scholarships, or how to make a study permit. There's a very general stuff which is covered in the whole application process. But at the same time, a lot of questions have been asked about like the job prospects or accommodation, or how far if I'm able to find a 20 hours job, those kind of stuff. We try to answer them as much as we can, because we have a lot of students in UK who basically share their thoughts as well, and it's a really good opportunity for you to learn those experiences from us. We are Ucas Site Register Center as well. And the best part about it is that in education industry, there are a few very renowned certifications which you probably can get. And the reason is that it helps you to make sure that you are updating yourself in the current industry. So those who are on the Zoom, just wanted to let you know if there is a technical glitch. Sometimes it happens. It's not in our control, but you can rejoin, and the rejoin process is the same as what has been mentioned on the email. And you definitely can, it's gonna take not more than 5 seconds to rejoin. So if you are disconnected for some reason, you probably can join and by clicking on the same link. So I'm trying to go as quick as I can, but the important thing is we're trying to cover as much information for you on the UK perspective. And this is why I'm saying this there's a lot of information which we would like to share and answers your question as well. But I'm pretty sure the presentation is going to be covering a lot of general questions which you may have it. But at the same time, we are trying to share the information which is very beneficial for you at the same time. So this is what we will be covering, and of course we will be going through one by one. So a lot of people are sometimes not sure if UK is Great Britain or England. So UK is basically comprises of four countries: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. And it is very imperative to understand that Northern Ireland is a part of a UK. So it's basically not like the part of the like Ireland country. So whenever you say Northern Ireland, is understood, and it's part of UK, and anything which is coming under UK educational law or immigration law, it falls under Northern Ireland as well. For example, a lot of people have asked about if that 2 years post-study visa is gonna be acceptable if we graduate from Northern Ireland too. So yes, it will be. It has been announced. It will be implemented soon, but it depends when. And anybody who's graduating in next year, that's what they have announced. UK, we have announced that. I would say UK immigration or UK government have announced that if you will be graduating after certain dates of 2021, you will be allowed for working there or staying there for on a 2 year post-study visa. So that is applicable to every part of UK. And as you can see, this map is basically gives you a pretty decent idea about quite a bit of popular cities across UK. Of course, London being the most prominent one, and then of course Birmingham, and then of course we have Manchester, the three very popular and big cities of the UK. But that it also suggests you where Belfast is, and where, for example, the other big cities are located. So the map already had mentioned about those main cities of the UK as well, just to give you the region where exactly they are looking. For example, if you're looking about London, of course it's in London, but like places like Bournemouth or Lincoln or Leicester or Kiel, for example, they are all in England area, whereas universities like Cardiff or Bangor, they are in Wales. So all part of UK, but they are, of course, I'm just trying to make an aware where exactly these universities are. These are very popular choices among the students in recent times, and we have noticed, and we wanted to make sure so that they do understand that these are the schools which are very which cities they are from and which region they belong to. Now this is imperative, going back to the map, that normally a lot of international students do ask that, and taking London as the criteria, that how far the universities or the cities from London. So the best part about the UK, of course, is it's not a huge country like Canada, for example. So the traveling time between one city to another city is not significant. Like my personal experience being like maybe from Southampton, which is the south of the UK, or Bournemouth. If you want to go to the Inverness, it's not going to take more than maybe 6-7 hours of train journey. Of course, the flight duration would be much more quicker. So for Belfast from London, it's going to be, I think, about like 90 minutes. So it's very convenient in terms of wherever you are in the UK. Of course, at the end of the day, I mean, you can't be in Edinburgh and come to London every weekend, because it's going to be like 3-4 hours of train journey, right? So it is convenient. It is very small country in comparison to Canada. But this is what the idea whole about is, that all universities in different regions in different part of the UK. So this is very critical for a lot of students who are joining us from India and Pakistan, but of course Canadians as well, because a lot of Canadians who are applying on the basis of their high school grades, they normally apply for a bachelor's year one, which is fantastic, and they are eligible for the direct entry to the bachelor's program. However, UK is a very flexible education system. They have quite a bit of range, and that is applicable as per different markets. So the presentation is all about educating the international students who wanted to study in the UK. Now, this presentation can be these students can be from different part of the world. So whatever is applicable to your side, that goes accordingly. So for example, foundation year one, foundation year is a 1-year program. Is typically for people from or students from Pakistan or India or Sri Lanka, who basically have an education not equivalent to A levels. It can be higher HSC, for example, or 10+2 from India, and if they're not able to get into the bachelor's program year one because of their grade, if they have less than 75%, they have to do a 1-year foundation year. Year one, through various standalone institutions such as the Study Group, N2, Navitas, and you basically, what is year one is, it's a part of bachelor's year one, but you are basically studying in a institution like N2 or Study Group. The idea is that if you, for example, wanted to go to a particular institution which is associated with Study Group, say for example Huddersfield or Aberdeen and few of the other universities linked with the Study Group, and if you do not qualify to get into the year one to the university directly, for example, you might have missed a IELTS score by 0.5, for example. So either you have to do a pre-sessional English program at the university level, or you can get into the year one program in the Study Group, and that will cover your year one. Now, having said that, what it means is that once you graduate, you basically are going into the year two. Once you of course graduate from once you pass your year one, and then you are able to go into the year two. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to see if there are any queries. Feel free to leave your comments and queries either on Facebook if you're live there, and if you are on the Zoom, then of course you can leave message at at the bottom where it says the give me just 1 second. I'm going back to that. So where it says the inbox, there is a query box at the bottom, and you definitely can leave a message there. We're going to come back to that once we are done with the presentation. So the other thing is in the UK's education system is the foundation degree, or HND, which is National Diploma Program. So it's again the 2 years program. You have to get into in order to get into it, you have to have a A levels equivalent education. Now, for example, Canadians will be having a high school diploma from any of the provinces, and they will be eligible to get into this program, whereas students from Pakistan or India or different places need to have an education which is equivalent to A levels, most probably about like 13 years of education from like 10+2 or HSC plus additional 1 year. And then once you graduate from a foundation degree, you basically can get into the final year of a bachelor's program. Now, as one of the slides mentioned earlier, excuse me, there are like about 131 universities. So the transfer of credits from year one or from a foundation degree to relevant progression year depends upon individual universities. Some may be a guaranteed route, but at the same time, it's not possible. For example, if you do a year one and you're expecting that you will be getting into, say, Oxford University, that's not going to be possible, because the Oxford universities or the universities like in Russell Group may have different criteria, and they expecting students to start from year one. I'm not saying that this is not possible, but this is what most of the post-92 universities, I would say, is more flexible in terms of accepting the credits. But there is a possibility that quite a few universities may accept your credits, but many of them will not as well. So it depends upon where you apply or where you want to go. So make sure you are choosing the year one accordingly, and you're choosing the right program. For example, if you want to do a business element program or engineering, make sure that you are doing the year one according to that program. So once you're transferring your credit to year two, you are basically meeting the requisites. The other things are top-up program. Now, these are specifically for those who are having a 3-year advanced diploma, especially from Canada, for example. A lot of students from Canada do go to community colleges here, and they have a 3-year advanced diploma program. Typically for business and computing related program, it's pretty easy. Like if you have a 3-year advanced diploma program with 2.7, 2.8 GPA, that makes you eligible to apply to the top-up program. So, and that top-up program means the final year entry of a 3 years program. So 3 years in the UK, the bachelor's is 3 years honors. So if you have a 3-year advanced diploma from any of the community colleges, As far as some universities have progression agreements with quite a bit of colleges in Canada, India, Malaysia, Singapore. So it's pretty easy for them to transfer. But if your college is not listed, then for sure the universities will look into the curriculums and then will decide if you will be eligible. But most of the universities in the UK will look into the credit transfer applications. As I mentioned, bachelor's are 3 years in the UK, which is an honors degree. LLB is 3 years in bachelor's, but in the UK there is another. This is special degree for those who already have a 4-year undergrad degree from their home country and they wanted to do a law now. So maybe they have decided to do the business program initially, and then now they wanted to do a law degree. So that is a fast track 2 years, also called as accelerated LLB program for 2 years. And once you graduate with that degree, of course, will be eligible to do the master's program after it. So LLB is a very a special degree in the UK, which have a 3-year program as well as 2-year program as well. The masters are, masters is a 1-year program. Everybody knows that. That's why UK got a lot of applications for the master's program and high demand, because it's a very flexible degree starting in January as well as September. September being the most important, I would say, or most large is a large session for the UK universities, where you find a lot of universities offering different kind of programs, starting with medicine, pharmacy, physiotherapy, of course, all other programs like psychology, social work, those programs. But there are a lot of universities also for January session as well, which you can apply for. And especially on the basis of current scenario, this is a very important for the master's program who are looking for applying to master's program, that you can apply for September session and then defer to January if the same program is offered in January too, depending upon the scenario, current scenario, what's going on. Another master's, which is very different, like as I mentioned, LLB is 2 years. This few of the masters are 2 years as well, like social work or physiotherapy pre-registration, pre-registered program, or some of the master's program which requires a placement or which has a placement as a part of their master's program. So only very few of the master's program are 2 years. Otherwise, most of the master's program is only 1 year. And I mentioned this, that bachelor's programs, yes, it is a 3 years program, but if you're looking for coming to a physiotherapy to a medicine program, for example, of course, that's a 5 years program. And if you want to do a pharmacy, normally many universities offer a 3 years pharmacy program, but they also have integrated a master's element for the physiotherapy with a physiotherapy bachelor's degree. So it has become now 4 years. So if you go to a 3 years pharmacy program, it will call as B Pharm, whereas if you go for a 4 years, it becomes an M Pharm. And many universities now have decided that they are basically, like, for example, Keele University, they are one of the very prominent universities for pharmacy. They are offering 4 years M Pharm. Just to give you a little bit update, that Ulster University in Northern Ireland is the top university in pharmacy for last 3-4 years in terms of their ranking, and one of the best schools in pharmacy. So in terms of the admission process or admission deadline, just gonna see stuff if everything is fine. Sorry, I'm just trying to see at the same time that if the archive people are able to listen and they are able to put their queries there. So just to making sure. Okay, so there was I was basically, so United. So in terms of the admission process, it has to be understood that for various applications, the deadline varies. So the bachelor's, most of the bachelor's programs, of course, goes till the end of June 30th. And so if you are thinking to apply to the UK universities, regardless what the conditions is right now, you still can apply. But at the same time, different programs have different deadlines. For example, medicine program or all those science programs related to like medicine, dentistry, or other programs which are related to that, they have the strict deadlines of October 15th. So you can't make an application for the following year after October 15th. So if you're looking for a medicine program, you for 2021, your first bet would be to apply by October 15th. However, good news is there is another universities coming up, Brunel, which is offering their medicine program as well. And they are very flexible in terms of their admission deadline. And if you feel that you haven't applied or you didn't get the chance to apply to enough universities, Brunel University medicine program will be launching in September 2021. So you can make an application after October 15 as well in Brunel University, which is in London. So remember one thing that so in order to make an application, you just need to make sure that you are complying with the deadline, so that once you make an application, the university will be able to look into that in consider with all other applicants who have applied. For the master's program, there is as such no deadline, though. You need to apply as soon as you can, in terms once you have your IELTS score or once you have your transcript, for example. The reason being, if you wanted to, there is a lot of scholarship opportunities for bachelor's, of course, but as far as master's as well. And in order to make an application for master's and to see the chances for you to get the scholarships, it is very important that you should apply, and before Christmas, I would say end of the year, in order to be, qualified for or applying for the scholarship. So for scholarship, you need to have an at least a conditional offer, and then you apply for various external scholarships, which you can definitely, if you are eligible and if you have like a very good extra curriculum background and you have very good grades as well, you probably will be eligible for it. And I will encourage that those who are looking for September 2021, you should start thinking to seriously about looking to those external scholarship options. And this is where Student Solution come into play, and we can give you a lot of options for this, because as I mentioned, the expertise we have in this thing, we definitely can share. The challenges, of course, there are. You need to have very good certain grades, and of course you need to work a little bit harder on your personal statement or essay in terms of why you think you will be the best option for the scholarship. UK universities are very flexible, most of them, and of course, as I mentioned, there are 131 universities, so it's very strong school to school. But universities pretty flexible in terms of accepting scanned copies. Now, most of the post 92 universities, post 1992 universities do accept scanned copies. Like if you send them over the application through the application portal, or if you feel that you can send them over the email, that is always a possibility. But as I mentioned, that documents which is very mandatory in your applications can be your reference letters, your last year's transcript, your passport copy. These are all mandatory documents in terms of application process. The bachelor's program can be, there you can apply through Ucas, and this is where we were mentioning that we are one of the Ucas registered center in Toronto, in Canada. So you can apply through Ucas, but quite a few universities also, especially at this time of the year when the applications for the Ucas, the first deadline has been passed, and the second deadline, which is January 15, has also been passed. You can still make a direct application, and the reason is it's easier for university to make an offer as soon as as early as probably like 48 hours. Quite a few universities have been very vigilant in terms of responding back to students' application within 48 hours if the applications have been made direct, if a direct application has been made. Whereas if you go through the Ucas, you basically need to apply to 5 schools if you wish, and then of course have to wait for all 5 universities to make a decision. Or you basically, decisions can be take anything from maybe 2 weeks to 4 weeks, depending upon the workload. But I will suggest at this moment of time, the direct application will be the best route to get the offer and then start making decisions, because we are just running out of time for September sessions, because we are already into the last or into the middle of the May, and then of course we have to make sure that you are making application for study permit and arranging your funds as well. So direct application will be the best route for now. Um, just a quick reminder that in case of IT glitch, or in case if you get disconnected, please rejoin through the link provided on the email. So the Ucas fee for there's no this is another best part comparing to the UK in terms of Canadian and North American institutions, that there is no application or administrative fees associated with the application. If you are making a direct application to the university, it's free of cost. There's no cost in terms of applying to the universities. But if you are applying through UCAS, there's a one nominal fee, which is £20 for one application, or £25 for multiple choices from 2 to 5. Now, this is not per university, this is in total. So it doesn't matter if you apply to 2 or if you apply to 5, you're only paying £25. So that makes sense, right? I mean, if you're paying £25, why not apply to 5 universities? An application for the master's, as I mentioned, is always direct, and there's no application fee to the university level. And then of course you can making sure as far as your application is completed and supported with the relevant documents, you need to make sure that the application has been supported with all the documents as supported for your application, so the university can make a firm and quick decision. Let me just go through some of the questions quickly. If there I can see any questions here is going on. So okay. So other things about United Kingdom application is that every universities do require a deposit once you get a conditional offer. So conditional offer is most of the time it's about academic side, like a lot of international students who are applying from a country where English is not being the main if they require an Ielts or Toefl, if your English is if your studies has not been in English, for example, or it's not from an English-speaking country. But if you fulfill all the academic requirements, most of the universities do require a deposit from £1,000 to up to 50% tuition fee. So it varies from school to school. The second thing is, once the deposit has been made, you will be receiving a confirmation for acceptance for studies, which is required for Tier 4 visa. So all these top 3 points are interlinked to each other. So once you get an application, once you process an application, or once you have applied, once you get an offer, you basically will be required to make a deposit once an offer has been made. And then, of course, once the deposit has been made, you get a CAS letter, which is confirmation of acceptance for studies from the UK university, and that makes you eligible to apply to Tier 4 visa. Now, remember, there are a lot of various types of applications or names of the visa in UK via website. Just to make sure that you are applying for Tier 4 general, if you're applying, of course, alone as an individual. A lot of scholarships available, which is guaranteed most of the time. Anything from £1,000 to £3,000. So if as soon as you basically make an application, and if you are into the university, you definitely will be getting anything from £1,000 to £3,000 scholarship, depending upon the universities, of course. Like for example, Ulster University, if you apply to their international foundation program, they're offering £4,000 scholarship, £2,000 for your accommodation, and £2,000 for academic side. Similarly, for any bachelor's and master's program, as far as you meet the prerequisites, it's a very, like for example, if you go to pharmacy program and physiotherapy, it's a very competitive university, high-ranked university. So the application process is not that very easy that you will get into it. You need to go through certain documents, and then of course making sure your application has been presented very well in terms of your reflecting your your work experience, extracurricular activities, and then of course they will do the interview as well. So it is quite a bit of steps involved. And then of course you will be, if you are guaranteed if you are given a admission, then you will be able to get the scholarship from 1,000 to 3,000 pounds. Then, of course, we come to the merit-based scholarship, which is more than 20%. Some universities may give you about like up to 50% as well. For example, Bangor universities, I know their business programs offer about 50% scholarship, which is called Vice Chancellor International Scholarship, and so that is dependent, and that requires a bit much more things with your applications once you, and it's not something which you make you make an application and the university will give you scholarship. You probably need a little bit more efforts to show your worth in terms of universities giving you more scholarships. And why you will be qualified for that scholarship, that is very important to mention for yourself in this in the application. I will just give me 2 seconds and I'm going to be right back. For those who are on Facebook looking us live, I think there has been a little bit glitch on Zoom, so give me just 2 seconds, please. Sorry, guys who are watching us live on Facebook. I'm just having a little bit of technical issues on Zoom, so I'm just going through that. So give me just 1 minute, and I will be back shortly in terms of going through the presentation further. Okay, so we're back to Facebook Live, and we are good on Zoom as well. I'm just going to be sharing the screen. Guys, can you see my screen now, and can you hear me? And that is I'm talking about on Zoom. Excellent, excellent. So I'm going to put this on the screen right now, and then we are good to go. So, so we're back live on Facebook as well, continuing from where we left. So this, as I mentioned earlier, that a merit-based scholarship is from 20% to full-time to full scholarship. In fact, quite a few students of ours have got full scholarship, like 100% of the postgrad level. So I will suggest those who are applying for postgrad level, try apply as soon as you can. Especially if you're looking for September 2021, don't delay your application beyond, I would say, end of September, October, because of few of the scholarships, external scholarships, that is, their deadline is around end of November. So you probably don't want to miss that, right? So if you have really good grades, about like maybe about 80% and above, or wealth of experience about 20%, 20 years, I would say, in terms of your at a managerial level and those kind of things. So do discuss with us. Of course, you have the contact detail or WhatsApp number mentioned here. Just a general question, not applicable for a lot of students, but because they're more concentrating on their studies. But 20 hours per week is allowed in the United Kingdom during the term time, whereas the students can also work full time during when the semester is off. So it's a good opportunity to students not only just to earn money, but at the same time to get some work experience, international exposure in terms of working, getting some work environment experience in the UK. It's always beneficial. It's always beneficial when you're going from a country, from your country to a new country. You wanted to explore some opportunities, and why not if it's been allowed to work while your studies. But just to give you a heads up that just to give you a heads up that uh, just to give you a heads, I will be answering to all the questions by the end of this presentation, Sayed. So I will keep this in mind and definitely will be getting back to that. Um, so just keep this in mind that yeah, working is allowed, but at the same time, studying in the UK is demands a lot from individuals. So it's not just about you're going to the classes and you're attending it. It's all about your self-study time you're going to spend for yourself. For example, because we get the training from the universities departments individually, we always been informed that the universities may not be having 5 days classes, but it may be like week 3 days classes a week. But at the same time, this is expected that the students will be doing a lot of self studies or group assignments by themselves. So I would say, yeah, maybe you will be studying like 3 days a week, and then they expect, or you expect yourself, that if you are gonna invest the same kind of amount of time for yourself through group studies or research work, then you really need to make sure that you are able to get good grades and able to graduate at the same time. So keep this in mind. It's a very appealing thing that you can work 40 hours during, yeah, 40 hours during off time is possible for sure, because you're doing nothing, but at the end you are more focused on the work. Students who are graduating, and this has been just announced in October 2019. It has not been implemented yet, but this will be most likely implemented. Depends. So we are all looking forward to that. So in the UK, post-study visa is 2 years. So if you graduate in 2021, say July, June, at this time of the year afterwards, you will be eligible, the international students will be eligible to stay there for 2 years on a postgraduate visa. Now, this has been announced. When it's going to be implemented, we are looking forward to that. But this is something which has been a part of history in UK education, and they were used to doing this thing till 2012, I believe. So this is good news for international students, because a lot of international students wanted to study in the UK and wanted to work afterwards. So again, coming back to the point of your studies, and do make sure that once you graduate, you get the post-study visa as soon as you can. So these are, again, there are 131 universities, and we work quite a few universities about like there are some of them are direct, or some are through our other partners as well. But these are quite a few universities which we are coming across in terms of their inquiries, programs they offer. As I mentioned, every universities may be different in terms of their entry requirements, in terms of their rankings. Some are, of course, top 10 universities, top 20 universities come in Russell Group as well. Some are, very particular in their particular program. For example, if you're looking, say for example, if you wanted to go to a pharmacy program, so, and if you are considering that I wanted to go to a university where my program is recognized, and I'm going to a top school in that program, or in that area, then of course you need to check guardian ranking university for that, and then you make decision accordingly. So it is important to understand the ranking in the UK is not just on general basis, it's also on academic, on subject basis too. So for example, if you go and check Ulster University for pharmacy physiotherapy, you will figure out that they are one of the top universities in the UK for last 3-4 years. And then of course their the facilities, the faculty itself, the student support system is phenomenal. I have my personal experience in terms of going to Ulster last year, so I was really amazed with the location, with kind of support they give to students, of course. But at the same time, there are a lot of other universities. So, for example, if you look for a 2 years LLB program, Bangor, for example, which is in North Wales. So there are quite a few of variations in terms of the programs available in universities. And I mean, if you have any questions about any of the universities and program you want to go into, it depends upon where you want to go, what kind of budgets you have, and what kind of academics you have. Like for example, Durham is in northeast of UK, one of the very prominent top, I would say top 20 university in the UK. Very good in terms of their research. They're very high ranked university, as I mentioned. So you need to understand that every universities have different set of criteria. At the same time, their fee structures will be different, the scholarship ranges will be different, and whether if that is something which you wanted to go into as well, depending upon personal scenarios and situations, for example. Now this is on the this slide is reflecting for last 4 or 5 years the demand for different kind of programs we have found from international students across the globe, not just from Canada or from Pakistan. So probably some people who have an interest in from Saudi Arabia or Malaysia, for example. This is just to give an idea about some of the programs and some of the universities which are offering them, because for example, there are 131 universities, as I mentioned, but if you're going to a business program, every single university might be having that, right? So you can't, look around for the program and go into the university website. So it's obvious that every university most likely will have that program. But if you're going to a very specific programs like pharmacy or medicine or physiotherapy, uh, not every university will be having that. So this slide gives you a pretty decent idea, like where you should be looking into it. Some of the popular programs for pharmacy in universities, like for medicine, you can look into Brunel, which they're offering there, as I mentioned earlier, pharmacy program, medicine program from 2021. So again, if you're not sure which universities are offering those programs, do contact us. This is our website, and this is our WhatsApp number, which you can contact for a prompt response. But as I mentioned, there are various options available in the universities. So scholarships, which quite a few of our partners offer. As I mentioned earlier, that Bangor is one of the universities in North Wales. They are offering at undergrad level about £8,000. Now, £8,000 is a split into 3 years. So 4,000 first year and then 2,000, 2,000. And now, again, by the time I'm talking, maybe the scholarship application deadline, application seats have been gone already. But this is how it works, that most of the students with a good academic criteria, with a good GPA percentage, they would be qualifying for this scholarship. So keep an eye on the deadline, keep an eye on the requirements, and if you have any question about that, feel free to contact us for that. Bangor is another offering, like as I mentioned earlier, it's called Vice Chancellor International Scholarship, and their deadline is May 15th, actually, which is which is today. So most likely, if they are not extending their scholarships deadline for this one, it's done. But we will keep you posted if you wanted to know more about it. Sometime university, because of the current scenario, COVID-19, things may be a little bit flexible, and the deadline will go. They may extend the deadline. So you can see that there are various of scholarships available. Like this, I would like to mention this about scholarship in terms of progression scholarship. Like every year you get the same amount. Now, Ulster University is guaranteed that you will get £6,000 scholarship for bachelor's program. So if you get a £2,000 scholarship, and if you're entering into the maths undergrad program, you will get 2,000 each year. Whereas if you apply to, say, for example, universities, for example, Kiel, that's a significant amount of scholarship for 3 years, which is 2,500 each year. The only thing is that you need, in order to get the same amount in the second year, you need to meet certain GPA or percentage from year one. So say, for example, I mean, if they need like 60% in your year one, I'm just giving you an example here. Please don't quote me on this one, but just an example, like if you need a 60% to get £2,500 in the second year, that is what your criteria is. So if you get 50%, you probably will not get the scholarship, which is 2,500. So you may get some scholarship depending upon the discretion, but that is how it is. Whereas in Ulster, it's a guaranteed route. Of course, the scholarship is £6,000 compared to 7,500, but that's a guaranteed route. So these are a few of the scholarships in past. Every single students we try to help in terms of as much as scholarship they can get as per their academics. So this is very important to understand, that it's not just every student will get the scholarship. It is very important to understand, okay, UK is easy. We will just apply and get a scholarship. It's not 100% like this. It's always like when you are applying, what program you are applying, what kind of academics you are. So it is very imperative to understand that scholarships universities are ready to give to you anything from 1,000 to 3,000 pounds guaranteed scholarship, but at the same time you wanted to make sure you get most of it, right? So in order to do that, please contact us if you're applying for September 2021. Universities in the UK still accepting September 2020 right now. So there's no late as such because of the scenario. And it's like you can still apply, you can get an offer within 2 weeks. And then, of course, we move to the next steps of scholarships and applying for study permit. So you can see the scholarships are from our students who have got various scholarships from universities for physiotherapy, in Ulster University, psychology with counseling, specializations in Bournemouth for £3,500. So it varies from university to your university, and I'm happy that they basically avail these all the scholarships. So these are the most contact details for us. But if you're on our Facebook live fan page, you will be getting our updates regularly, and you know how to contact us. But these are most if you want a very quick response, the best way to connect is through our WhatsApp, and one of our counselors will be able to reply to you as soon as possible. And if you want to contact me directly, I will be available at head office. But our admissions team is very active, and they make sure the response is given within 48 hours, especially at this time of the year when things are very challenging. We are making sure that students who are inquiring us, especially those who are very serious looking to apply for September 2020, we make sure your applications have been prioritized and at the first level. So if you're looking for September 2020, please do contact us. It is not too late. We still are accepting applications. Our partner university is still accepting application. We can guarantee that if things goes well, and in terms of, you still can make for September 2020. But you are more than welcome to ask any of the queries, and through email, through WhatsApp, or if you want to connect us through Facebook, we are more than happy to help you. So I will now like to go through the questions, if you have any, in terms of study in the UK option, and we'd like to see if there are something to answer. Let me just go through one by one, and then we see from there. So one of the questions mentioned by one of the followers on Facebook is Duolingo accepted? Well, Duolingo is for those who doesn't know, Duolingo is let me see if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay, so one of the questions was asked that is Duolingo accepted as an English proficiency level? So Duolingo is an English proficiency test which is required, which is right now at this moment of time is acceptable by a lot of universities. Now it is just because they understand the universities are not, the students are not able to go to appear in the IELTS exams, or IELTS center to appear in the exams. So quite a few universities are accepting Duolingo as an alternative, which is an online test. And at the same time, there is another, some universities are also taking their online test, which is made by themselves as well, to assess their English, just to assess students' English. So I will say, yes, there is opportunity, but it depends upon the university you're going into. And maybe, like, for example, Ulster University is also offering an IELTS indicator, which is also another option for students to appear in. And these are all online, and it's acceptable. Just wanted to make sure on Zoom if everybody is able to hear me. And those who are on Facebook, are they able to hear me as well to their queries as well. Okay, so the second question I can see from Said, how hard it is to get to work in the UK. Now, in terms of part-time work you're talking about, which is 20 hours, um, well, it depends upon like what kind of efforts you're making for yourself too. Now, as I mentioned, while you are applying to study in the UK, you really have less time to to work, which is 20 hours a week. But at the same time, it is like you need to make sure you're spending more time on your studies. And if you are looking to apply for part time, for example, or 40 hours during the summer, I will advise to do more time on establishing networking and making sure you are connected to the right peoples. Of course, sometimes when we are into the into a peer, we probably try to follow what our other friends in the same circle are doing. For example, we need to understand that when you are in a country which is new to you, we try to learn from people from different segments as well. Either through you can be part of LinkedIn, for example. You can do some voluntary work, for example. You can connect with your universities. Universities are very good in terms of helping you out in terms of guiding like what support you need in terms of finding the jobs. They do have like job shops in the universities, and the student support counselors are really helpful in terms of guiding you in terms of where you can apply in terms of your skills you have, your communication level you have. So I would suggest the best advice is that you probably the best thing is that not only just look the website in terms of making an application or going to the job shops, but also building up a relationship, a connection, going out of your comfort box to make sure that you are being considered, or whenever somebody's thinking about a particular role, they might be thinking about you because you have been connected with them, they know your skills. This is very imperative that you should be telling them about what you can do, what kind of experience you have, what kind of skills you have. So let me see on the questions. Oh, so I believe one of my counselors have already replied to this thing. So I did my bachelor's degree through distance mode, whether UK universities accept Indian distance education for master's, because I did my bachelor's degree through distance mode and right. Well, so the question is that you have done your bachelor's in distance learning, and you wanted to look into the so you did your master's and bachelor's degree through distance learning, and you're planning to do the master's in business management in the UK. Now, as far as the universities do recognize distance learning degree equivalent to their bachelor's degree, full-time bachelor's degree, you shouldn't be having a problem with that. Now, it varies from university to university. To accept or to consider your bachelor's and master's degree, which is done in distance learning, for example. As far as it's equivalent to 3 years bachelor's program of the UK, you will be eligible for master's in business management. Now, I don't see why it will not be equivalent to, because you already have a master's degree from UK. It doesn't matter if it's a distance mode, as far as it has the right number of credits from your education. Please send us your documents at one of my colleagues is going to mention the contact details for like admissions at studentsolution.co.uk. Send your documents there with your resume and let us see what we can do for you. But definitely, it shouldn't be an issue. You will be able to apply and at the master's level. And we can get back to you on this once once we get the response for this one. Oh, okay. You already been answered with this one. All right. So the other questions I have on Zoom is, what about OSA for Canadians? Very specific for this is provincial loan, which is applicable to students who are in Canada, in Ontario. Yes, OSAB does provide you the study abroad loans to Canadians. You have to be either on either on PR or on or Canadian national to apply for. It's not going to be 100%. It varies from anything, anything I think from up to, I would say, 10,000 Canadian dollars, or I think it recently has increased a bit. But it's up to that. You won't be able to get maybe 100% of it. So maybe like 6,000 or 8,000. Like I have seen my students in recent times, few of them have received up to 8,000 Canadian dollars to study abroad. So it varies. The amount varies as per personal circumstances. You may qualify for OSAP, you may not qualify for OSAP, or you may, if you qualify, it's not necessary that you may get the full amount as well. So when you're applying to study abroad, you're definitely looking for either a bit of scholarship. It's a kind of a mix of things, a bit of scholarship, provincial loan maybe, but saving is the most important thing, or a sponsor for your education. So so definitely you won't be able to kind of expenses abroad is like about $25,000 to 30,000, depending upon the university you're going into. You definitely need kind of a sponsor as well as a bit of saving. You can't be 100% dependent on scholarships or OSAP or the provincial loans. It's more like an, I would say, individual response. Sayed, I would say if you can contact us on the email. Again, it varies from city to city. So the question asked was about if you can give a little bit idea about UK living expenses. So I would say if you probably can send me an email about it, and you can look after where you are looking to apply it. The answer varies from individual to individual, and it can varies from university you are going to, the city you are going to, and what kind of accommodation you wanted to stay in, for example. So, and if you like to share, live in a shared accommodation, or living just separately, for example, those kind of things can be vital factors in terms of your rent and your expenses, kind of expenses, how much you're paying. But definitely, if you send us an email or message on WhatsApp, I will be able to explain in terms of like what you are looking. Of course, it varies from city to city and where you are looking in terms of accommodation. Um, Let me see if we have other questions. So, as per current scenario, do you think the universities will be running September session? At this moment of time, right now, as we are getting close to September session, I would say right now everything is being considered as normal, and universities have advised us that they are at this moment of time considering things will get better. But some of the universities are thinking to, in fact, some of the universities have implemented this, that they will be doing an online September session. And so this is one way or the other, it's a good opportunity that you're not missing your September session, and at the same time you are saving your costs in terms of your accommodation by staying home and doing online. But the other side of the thing is, like, of course, I mean, you will be missing the really international exposure, going there and talking to students, talking to the lecturers, attending the classes in person will have a different impact. But yeah, so universities are right now very optimistic, and they are looking forward for the September session. And as I mentioned, things will get better. And if you wait for the apply for admission, things will be very slow at that time, because it will be very, very busy at the university side. So if you are thinking to apply now, this is the best time, so that you get an offer. You have all the time that you can always make a decision to defer your application for next September or next year or next session. But at least you have an offer. You have something in your mind that, okay, I can still make I'm still considering to go in September, and I'm ready to go. So I will still advise that yes, the universities are still running the September session. Make an application as normal, and then move from there on. So this is more general question: that are there any universities that I can apply without IELTS and TOEFL? Well, depending upon individual scenarios, it's not about the universities is offering admissions without IELTS. It's just about if you have 3 years 3 years, if you have graduated in past 3 years, and if you can provide English proficiency letter that will, serve the purpose, and the IELTS will be waived. And this is applicable for most of those, of course, which are applying from countries which is not an English speaking country, right? So yes, so if you do want to waive your IELTS requirement, firstly, there are now online options like Duolingo, for example. There is another as IELTS indicator, as one of the universities mentioned to us. But at the same time, if you have an English proficiency letter from your recent education, recent institution, which you have graduated in last 3 years, you probably your IELTS can be waived. Of course, that varies from place to place. For example, some of the Indian students, we have a process application, and their application was from their education is from, for example, from region Tamil Nadu. So that varies from university to university, and how it is on a general basis. If you have an English proficiency letter from institution from last 3 years, it is possibility. And this is only applicable for master's program. From undergrad, unfortunately, you have to do a Duolingo or online test. So I think this is it. We don't have any other questions, I believe. Okay, so yeah, coming back to that distance learning mode question, definitely you are eligible to apply for MSc. Please contact our admission team, and they will be able to, look into that in more detail. All right, so I think that's it. We don't have any more questions on Zoom as well, and we are good to. And if you have any questions, and if you feel that you have, sometimes students may remember that they have some questions which was not answered, or for example, they remember some questions that was forgotten and they have to ask. Please contact us. Contact us on our email address. I will be able to answer them, any of your queries. And again, the email address is either of these. You can contact us, and I would say for a very prompt response, our WhatsApp number would be the most important one for you to have, so that you can get the answers very quickly on a study in the UK. So I hope you have gained a lot of information from UK. I know it was a lot of information in very short period of time, but please feel free to contact us, and we will be able to answer them individual inquiries. Thank you very much, guys, for participating, for coming and joining our presentation. Those who attended on Facebook, on Zoom, really appreciate your time. And we are looking forward to this kind of seminars on regular basis. And hopefully, we look forward to if answering any of your queries. Thank you very much for your time. I speak to you soon. Thank you.